Are you looking for more out of your life? Do you need ideas on how to start new businesses and how to move forward in your own personal life? Well, guess what? You have come to the right radio show. At You Can Overcome Anything podcast show, you will learn and hear from many people from all walks of life who are sharing their challenges, their stories, the habits, and the mind shifts they had to overcome to become who they are today. On top, you will get a chance to connect and see how you can overcome anything by networking and learning about your next move through this radio show. I present to you our great speakers at You Can Overcome Anything podcast show with your host, Cesar Espino. Hello there and welcome back to another episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. It is your host, Cesar Espino, and today I have a special guest. His name is Jeff. Hey, Jeff, how's it going?
Hey, it's going good, my man. I'm stoked to be here. Awesome. And super excited for this holiday coming up. Heck of a lot to be thankful.
Yeah, definitely. Quite a few. We actually have quite a few holidays, so it's actually a good time to go through that and kind of get over this little hump of madness that's going on right now.
Oh, for sure. I love how everybody's like, I can't wait for this year to be over, with 2020. And I'm like, I'm a total optimist here. And I'm just joking with people. I'm like, well, it's going to be 2020 plus one.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, exactly. No, it's awesome. So let me give a little bit of your background to the listeners and viewers, and then you can dive into that. So you're a competitor, a snowboarder, elite coach, and international motivational speaker. And you started the snowboarding at the age of 3. And since then, you've been doing that pretty much all your life, right? And now, in the last couple of years, last 9 years, you've been focusing on product development and design, and then also winning awards along the way for product design and innovation. And today, you're looking to expand to include marketing and influencing, consulting, a bunch of other things that you have going on. So, you know your story better. Why don't you tell me, what were you born, and let's dive into who you were as a kid and the things you went through.
Yeah, sounds good. So I was born in Janesville, Wisconsin. Not a heck of a lot going on there. I mean, it's a town about 50, 60,000. They're famous for making the Suburban in Tahoe. They had the assembly line out there. And then former Speaker of the House, Paul Ryan's from there as well, too. And then I think Misty Bass, she went into WNBA. Other than that, not a heck of a lot going on there. And not a heck of a lot of, hills and stuff like that, or, vertical feet that you can totally ride, or mountains. We actually had garbage dumps with chairlifts on them. But it's not the mountain that makes a difference, or the hill. It's the rider and what you do with it and how you make your opportunity. So, did that. I was Wisconsinite for about 18 years or so, and then I had the chance to move to Maine and follow my family out there. I spent a couple of years out there, and then from there, I turned pro in snowboarding. I actually started out skiing at like 2.5. Both my mom and dad met on the hill in like 1976 or so, around then, 1975, 1976. And then I happened on a spring break in Winter Park, as far as what they told me. I switched to snowboarding at about age 12, 13, kind of when you're that awkward teenager, skateboarded. Figured it'd be a great way to talk to the gals. Didn't really work that way. I mean, I just stayed shy and kind of in my shell, and didn't really talk to girls, but I just became a really good snowboarder. Next thing you know, I'm riding D-Tour, X Games, stuff like that.
Wow.
And then from there, you can only push those boundaries for so long. You can only ride that long. Your body can only take so much of a beating. I mean, I swear I have a medical file that's probably like wider than the screen, and probably doesn't even fit here in this space, from concussions, internal injuries, blew out both my ACLs, had to have reconstructive surgery. So I had a good 9-10 year run, rode for sponsors like Oakley, Monster Energy, PacSun, but 2010, 11, I decided to hang it up, and life kind of took me into starting a brand. It's called Why Me Snowboards. We're kind of transitioning it into Get Awesome Snowboarding. But that's where I had some other business stuff in between. I did some network marketing when I was 18, but I was like, I want to do this. I want to start this business, start this brand. Knew absolutely nothing other than, from being on the marketing side and the product development side with sponsors. At one point I had like 12 different sponsors. So I kind of learned from watching and then took that and applied that. So, I mean, we had to find everything from, how to manufacture. We were actually making those boards originally by ourselves, and every business, I always say it has, you have your lead generation, your marketing, and then you have your sales and closing. So we had to find a way to market. Thankfully, back then you could still market on Facebook and social media organically pretty good.
Right.
And then we built the staff of sales staff in-house and out-house and stuff, and did that for a bit. Then people said, hey, wow, because we started growing and growing. So eventually we started sourcing our, some of our supplies and stuff like that in Europe, or even manufacturing in Europe, manufacturing in Asia for the Asian markets, as well as bringing some models and stuff over here. So that kind of allowed us to get into the import-export business. And then from there, people said, hey, I got this idea. Can you help me make this cool collaborative snowboard? Or can you help me make this as a heated ski pole grip? Was one of our coolest ones. And then just innovating, going over places like crazy places in China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, all over to source these products, watch them, the whole process be made. And then that was kind of my product development side. And then from there, I got bored, or just wasn't surrounded with the right people, right partners and stuff like that. Needed a change of life. 2017, 18 came around. I found myself back in the network marketing, multi-level marketing world. And then I had a nasty split with one of my partners because I did that, but I never intended on getting back in that. I started out as a product user, watched my dad have some amazing results from taking the products that I was affiliated with. And he had recovered, I think, he had a triple bypass in 2015, and he's back on snow and shoot 2.5 months. And that's a big part of my family. So I watched my dad have those results, watched my mom have some results. And I'm like, all right, this is where life's taking me. Without a ton of sacrifice. But I said, all right, this allows me to jump back into the marketing world. 2019, I had this amazing gal where she just said, hey, what the fuck's holding you back, more or less.
Right.
And came up with a winded excuse of, I split up with my partners, we're going through this nasty business divorce, blah blah blah. Told her the whole story of Why Me Snowboards, and how we're helping everybody out, Shred for the Cure, and that whole story about it. I'm like, wow, this is a long-winded excuse. And I'm like, let me think this over and I'll get back to you. And then a couple weeks later, I think it was a couple weeks within that span, I should have probably wrote these days down.
Yeah, right.
But all of a sudden I'm hanging out in my brother's basement. Just had an awesome workout, awesome bike ride in the morning. And all of a sudden it's just got out of the shower and just hit me. Sometimes I get my best ideas driving, or like in the shower, right after the shower. I should put a whiteboard in there.
You should.
And, I'm like, influencer academy. So
no, that's awesome. That's pretty awesome. And I gotta ask you, because we always go through different challenges, right? And it seems like one of your biggest challenges that you've went through is really dealing with this concussion at the age of 14. And not only that, you also had a memory loss at the age of 14. And as you said, you have a list of things going on. So what happened there? Was that because you were snowboarding, or you were skateboarding? I mean, what led to that concussion and the loss of memory? And how did you recover from that? And what are some of the things that you had to do?
Oh, man. So that was August 3rd, 1996. I remember that exact date. Not a lot after that. There's a lot of black days, but we were out on the Rock River, which flows into the Mississippi. It's one of those dark brown ugly rivers.
Yeah.
My family's other thing we used to do was water ski, wakeboard, water sports, right? So we're out on Saturday and happened to be like around the time is like afternoon or something like that. Ended up broadsiding us and hitting us, and my family, they both, my mom and dad both got knocked off, and then my best buddy Steve, I think I pushed him down. I don't know. He got 300 stitches in his back. I took the boat right here, this side of my head, broke the shoulder, clavicle, all that, tore some stuff in there, broken jaw. The memory loss, and you know, in some ways I was lucky I was 14 because the 14-year-old body can recover like but with you know, my brain, this that like brain hemorrhaging and stuff like that, anytime I lose my balance, or you know, I had to make it really, really easy. I played soccer, I wrestled, I did track, anything out there, if it was around, I'd do it. So sports always helped me keep my focus, but I lost that. And then memory stuff, it was like 51st dates. So remembering stuff from the other day, you know, stuff that I learned in class was non-existent. So there was a lot of memory exercises I had to do. But the crazy part is I was so young that my brain kind of rewired itself. So there's stuff I could remember, like you could give me a number like right now, like 8570, you know, whatever. And we could probably come back a year from now, 2021. I could be like, yeah, remember we were talking about that, this, that, and just ate these crazy details. It wasn't so much of what I did, but it's just kind of where my brain just evolved. And, you know, really the disability, the setback becomes an ability once you learn how to master it, use it. So really it was just looking at the other side of the coin saying, hey, you know, tails, I kind of got some, you know, some crap to deal with that. But you look on the head side of thing, hey, I recovered. I could, you know, I don't need to write stuff down, hear stuff once, and just programs in there. And then there were certain things I did do were visualizing words, especially like when we talk, like, or I hear stuff, I visualize the words, and that just gets imprinted into my memory. And then the visual memory and the, you know, the, whatchamacall that, that photographic memory. It's just something that never leaves you once you have that. Once you lose your memory, like I can sympathize with people that have Alzheimer's, dementia, or people have had serious TBIs. Once you lose that, it's just part of your life is gone. And I never wanted to have that happen again. So I value what's up there a lot.
Yeah. No, that's definitely amazing. What were some lessons that you think, you looking back now, that maybe you did or you've learned from that experience that's helping you right now in your journey?
Oh man, patience, practice, persistence, with anything, you know, whether you're trying to learn stuff, you're trying to be the best athlete in the world, or if you're just trying to improve your life, practice, patience, persistence, build that belief. That belief is visually, you know, whether it's visually or, you know, how it feels, however you process that, what it takes to go conquer the fear of whatever's holding you back. And on the other side of fear is freedom, and man, freedom's fun.
Yeah, right. No, I love that. Actually, I love those three things: patience, practice, persistence. I'm gonna call them the 3 Ps for sure. No, that's awesome. And in terms of the just going through all of that, you mentioned earlier today that at one point you found like not with the right people or the right partners, right? Like, what is your take on the typical saying? I think Jim Rohn came up with this, the average 5, right? What is your saying on or your belief on that with people and partners?
So, yeah, we are the sum of the people we surround ourselves with. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's more. But I kind of took that and said, well, I'm going to step this up. So mentors are key. the people that have been there, done that. So whether, it's just getting started in business, I looked at people that were that had the experience, that built snowboard brands and sold them, people that had that experience in the marketing, people that had that experience in the executive level, and whether it's network marketing, people that built that top position in their company, or what maybe you want to run for public office or something like that. So find somebody that's been there, that's done that, that's seen that, that's had that success, and you want to have them. They have the blueprint around you, So sometimes it was older pros too that I talked to and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this backside double cork. It's kind of new territory, but what do you think about this?" So mentorship is key, because these guys have the blueprint of what it takes to build a successful house, a successful business, successful relationships. List goes on. So find those people that have done that, talk to them, reach out to them, pay them whatever it takes. Maybe you can, or you're in the market to do it. Maybe you can't. But there's somebody out there for everybody. And mentorship, even if you go to SBA, a lot of times people will mentor you for free. And then a coach in business, a coach in athletics, a coach in anything, somebody that really knows how to talk to you and ask those questions, inspire you, kick you in the ass to say, "Hey, I got this. All right, cool." And then cheerleaders, you need your friends to cheer you on, because you're going to have some awesome days. You're going to have some crap days. And then you need friends that'll tell you how it is, where they'll say, "Hey, whatever that was you were talking about, or that idea, it sucks. It's stupid. It's not going to go anywhere." And, these are people I surround myself with. They've been around, my friends, they've been around for my whole life, since I was, 5. I'm going all the way back to Wisconsin. My best friends, Gary and Steve, where I can ask them, they're going to say, "Dude, that's brilliant," or what are you smoking, bro? But you know what? I'll give you a hand up. We'll go have a beer, and you'll go get them next time. So, of those 5, or, 5 or more, try and surround yourself with those.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And so now you're really all over the place. So you're surfing, you're doing a lot of things. Let's talk about the aftermath, because I think all of that hard work and everything you've went through has led up to where you're at right now, right? And so, I've always seen you traveling and doing something, right? Something fun, something spontaneous. I guess many people might see it and they say, I want to be like Jeff. I want to be able to do the things that he's doing. What is your advice on that? And also, what are the things that you're doing?
Oh yeah, I call that adventurepreneuring. Adventure. Yeah. I call myself an adventurepreneur because for me, traveling just inspires me. It gives me ideas. I get the best ideas in the car, on the beach, random spots in the mountains, hiking, climbing. I like to move around and have a hard time sitting still. So, one of the things I looked at was, I said, all right, I can't have something where I'm physically based, where, brick and mortar location. Mm-hmm. It's tough for you to take off from that. But really the best thing you could do is take every business and look at something that's like evergreen that you can create. You see a lot of people, we create courses, but look at the marketing, the lead generation aspect, look at the sales and the closing, and then look at the fulfillment. If you can, when you're starting something out, you're going to be good at one, or like doing one of those. Take the other 2 off your plate as soon as possible. There's places like where you can hire virtual assistants, abroad, like sites like FreeUp and stuff like that, where you can have people do some of that stuff for you. The big key for me was, one, automating as much as I could. And then when you can't automate, you got to delegate. Building that lead gen team and marketing team, those guys, they crush it. We got same guys that build stuff like Grant Cardone's 10X and Cardone University. Just drawing a blank there. And then sales. You need your closers. So we have some all-star, rock star closers where they're performance. So you don't have to have these people on your payroll. They're paid based on results. And then fulfillment, like I do some personal development coaching with this book that's going to launch. We have our team where it's specifically coaching these programs. Boom, boom, boom. Like we created the syllabi. So this is evergreen stuff. I like to wash, rinse, and duplicate this as much as possible. Stuff that you can run, and you can do this with so many different businesses. For anybody that really wants to get started, dip your toes, affiliate network marketing, man, like low cost entry. The company takes care of your product fulfillment. Then you just got to figure out the lead gen side and the sales side and closing. So there's a lot of different things out there, and there's no better time than right now. And especially with God, I think we're in like shutdown round 10.
Like the takes up too. I lost track. Yeah, I lost track of that too. But man, yeah.
So it's all going towards this, this whole digital age. And it was always my dream after snowboarding where I said, you know what, I don't want to be stuck in a location where I got to go to school. I don't want to be stuck in a location where I got to go to work and somebody tells me, oh, well, you kind of have to live near work. So, and then you're stuck in that community, you're stuck in this, and it doesn't have to be like that anymore. So, I mean, if you want it, if I can do it, seriously, anybody can do this. Because I'm the most ADHD, crazy, run around, can't sit still type of person.
Yeah. So talk about this book. Do you have a book coming out, or is it already out?
It's coming out, and we're releasing this in December.
Okay.
It's going to be it's called Get Awesome, where passions meet purpose.
Yep.
And there's 11 segments in it where we talk about everything from mindset, clarity, vibrancy, and all the things that I've used to create my success as an athlete, and then taking that same blueprint and then moving that over to business, moving that over to speaking, even relationships, whether it's, with the gal or with, family, friends and stuff like that. Because how we do anything is how we do everything.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. No, I cannot wait for that book to come out and definitely have that out. So what are there any things you do, like any rituals, any habits you do on a day-to-day basis to just kind of keep you in this kind of mindset daily, or do you have any habits?
So lately, since they shut down the whole snowboard season, I was like, oh man, I got to find something to do. So surfing, dawn patrol. I go out I wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, check the surf report, and then go see where I want to go. And then getting that sunrise paddle or doing some type of movement for me in the morning is really key. So whether, it's riding a bike, going for a hike, I don't really like to run after knee surgeries, but, doing something where I'm out about catching that early morning sunrise, and then doing the most important thing of the day, getting that off your plate as soon as possible. And then usually I focus on, I kind of meditate and just focus on what I want to do, visualize all that throughout, kind of like my 15-minute cool down where I'm stretching and stuff like that. I mix a little yoga and flow into that, and then bring that into the day-to-day, and then get into that flow state where you just got to know when you're productive. For me, that's usually before 1 o'clock, 1 to 3. I just want a siesta and, nap and be lazy. Sometimes we go out for afternoon paddle or something like that. And then there's some times during the night where I get that flow state. And that's a great part about being an entrepreneur is, you're not beholden to, a 9 to 5 schedule.
Right.
It's just knowing when my body's optimized and when I can just get the most done with the least resistance or the least distractions. Afternoon, usually 3 to 5 is usually just reacting to calls and texts and emails and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I like the idea of, well, for me, I guess, and I think a lot of people that are in this space of being an entrepreneur is, somebody asked me one time, when do you work and when do you take time off? And for me, it's like, I'm always working and I'm always off, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like your schedule is based on how you perform or how you do, and you have your own rituals or your own routine. So to me, I can be on the beach and still working, but it's also I'm on vacation, right? I mean, I don't see a difference between one or the other. Whereas when I was working for the 9 to 5, I mean, definitely you can clearly tell when I was working, and you can clearly tell when I was on vacation. It was oftentimes I was working more than I was on vacation, right? So I like the fact that there's no, differentiator there for me.
So that was, being in this, I mean, shoot, I go back like 20 years or something like that through this. It took me probably up until this year where I just said, you know what, this is kind of like I set my schedule of these are blocks of time that I'm taking off just to, vacation, or this is when, you're going to get my autoresponder, or, delegate to the chief of staff or something like that, where I just say, hey, I'm out. Because one of the most important, I mean, don't get me wrong. Anytime I start something new, I'm 80, 120 hours a week guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
However many hours are in there. Who needs sleep?
Yeah, exactly.
I can live off of caffeine, nothing else. Do the whole
Right.
Steve Jobs thing. But really, like it's about having that balance and not, getting burned out. As an athlete, I used to do like a 4-3 schedule, then a 3-4. So 4 days on, 3 days off, 3 days on, 4 days off. And then really adhering to that and sticking to that and just saying, you know what, sorry guys, I'm out. This is my schedule. I adhere to the schedule, and I'll be back on this day. We can connect if it's super duper urgent. Talk to, I just defer it down the line. And then that's another thing too, is you build a, whether you're a solopreneur, eventually all of us kind of you want that freedom. That's where delegation comes in, and just having the right people and systems and processes and stuff around you where you can say, all right, I'm not here, but so-and-so can take care of you, or so-and-so can, address this, or technically shouldn't even, come through your chain until, ideally that's the way everything's going for me. I'll have a chief of staff with everything I have going on. I get briefed by them. So this is what this is going on. This is what's going on here, there, boom, boom, boom. And it's finding out what works for you as an individual. Sometimes some people can handle 10 different people coming at them 10 different ways on a Tuesday. Me, I'm like,
yeah,
thanks.
Right. No, that's awesome. So, Jeff, if people wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
Dude, Google Jeff Lavin.
Right.
Pop over jefflavin.net. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all the LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm out there everywhere, and really any way you want to connect, it's all good. The website takes you all back to those channels, back and forth and vice versa. That's kind of like the main hub.
Yep.
But jefflavin.net, Instagram, Facebook, however you like to talk. I'm here to talk with you, and it's like peeing in the shower. It all goes down the same drains.
I love that. Yeah, definitely. One last thing for you. If anyone who's watching this is going through some sort of challenge, whatever that might be, business, relationships, it doesn't matter, whatever challenge, what would be your one advice you can give them so they can start overcoming that challenge?
So, shoot, I went through this whole challenge where I'm like, I don't know if I want to snowboard, this year. So really it's getting back and looking at the foundation and the core, of who you are and what you're going through in your adversity, knowing that, whether it's really, I mean, this is a relationship thing, the 3 Ps, if you practice, you have that practice, it's talking it out with other people. Sometimes it's repetitions if it's a sports thing. Sometimes it's talking even about, I've talked to people about some of my lofty snowboarding goals, that it just feels good to get that off your chest. Talk, and when you talk, sometimes you work that out in your mind. Patience because, the teacher is always quiet during the test, and there's a reason that test is, stuff put in front of us, and it's eventually you're leveling up. But just be patient. with yourself. And here's another thing too. Don't compare your chapter 20 to somebody else's chapter 10, or, vice versa.
I love that.
We're all in this race, and it's, it's, in the end, it's with ourselves, but we're running it together. So don't look at somebody else and say, oh, this is perfect. That, look at what you're doing, and strictly what you're doing. And then persistence. That's the key thing with anything. Don't give up. Have you ever seen that drawing where you're the guy's so close to the diamond and then he just gives up?
Oh yeah,
He's digging.
right, yeah, and he's just.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if, like, what was it, King Tut in Egypt? Could you imagine if they said, all right, we gave up, and it was 2 more shovels right there, or the guys that landed on the moon, and they said, oh yeah, we got this far, we're going to turn around and let's go back now, let's not even touch down. No, man, you're so close no matter what. I mean, you're just that much closer to your end goal. But also look at everything as a, whether it's like, I compare everything to football games or sports or something like that, but you could say high school or college or something like that. Like, everybody has a set day of graduation, so you have 4 years, semesters, quarters, stuff like that. Break it down into that, because whatever's in front of you, eventually there's an end goal or outcome. So look at your outcome and then just work backwards from it. Structure your game plan. And sometimes at halftime, you have to change some stuff up to kind of keep going and get to that end goal, which, is a personal win.
Yeah.
And then believe in yourself. Don't give up. Don't lose hold of that belief. Keep that visualization, that manifestation. Picture that end goal there. And fear, it's a bitch. It can hold you back.
Yeah.
What does fear feel like? Does it feel like, I mean, if you're standing on the edge of a cliff and you're super duper scared, or you're standing up at 10,000 or 1,000 feet overlooking something, or maybe it's spiders or something like that. So know to recognize that fear, because fear can become one of the biggest allies once you know how to harness it and release it and utilize it.
Yeah.
But most important. I
gotta tell you, I love that. Yeah.
Don't give up, though.
That's the most important
dreams. Don't give up on your goals. Don't give up on it. Otherwise, you give up on your dreams, eventually you're either making yours come true or you're making somebody else's come true. And I know for me, the biggest fear is having to go work. A lot of entrepreneurs having to go work for somebody else.
Yeah. Right.
Having to go back into that, 9 to 5 set schedule, this, that. That's the biggest fear, but I use that to power me. When I say, oh yeah, wait, I could be doing this in an office, stuck here, answering emails, TPS reports, doing spreadsheets, faxing stuff, and no, I use that to kind of motivate me.
I like the fact that you said, let's look at the fear and see. Let that be like an ammunition to help you, push forward, right? I think it was Les Brown. He said, you're either going to have results or regrets. You cannot have both, right? So it's going to be one or the other. So you got to choose your poison, I guess. Do you want to have regrets or do you want to have results? And even if it gets hard, which I know a lot of times it does in many different aspects, whether it's business, relationships, whatever the case may be, you got to just keep pushing through, right? And I got to tell you, I've seen a lot of people that give up so easily and they just don't push through. They start something, they don't finish. And it's a matter of, where do you want to be? Because that setback, the fact that you gave up can set you back a year, 2 or 3 or forever, right? And so even if it's tough and you keep falling down, just keep pushing through it. And that's one thing that I think is important for us to recognize,
Oh, for sure. Get with everything. I always say, get in the game, get out there, give it your all, leave it all on the field. Because at the end of the day, even if you lose, even if you come up short, you're closer to your goal. But you know what? I've said that too. Even walking away from a relationship, I gave it my all. And I said, hey, I did everything I knew I could do.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like playing your heart out, going out there for that slope style run. I didn't always win, but I knew if I gave it my all, oh, well, I could sleep happy at the end of the day.
Right.
And then improve from it and, track look at the metrics and shift it up and change, and something better will come along.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jeff, thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and giving us some good wisdom here. Before I let you go, anything else you want to share?
Oh man, stoked for this book to come out.
Yeah,
Thanks. Likewise, Caesar. Super awesome to connect and talk with you. I know we've been friends on the Book of Faith for a minute.
Yes.
Love what you're doing out there, and dude, let's get you out paddling some waves.
Yeah, definitely. I need to do that. I definitely need to do that. So next time you're down here, we got to figure something out.
Oh, for sure. Sounds good.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Jeff. And for the rest of you guys, please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this episode. Make sure that you are in the lookout for Jeff's book coming out in December. So by the time this airs, that is going to be already out. So make sure you get it. And again, stay tuned for the next episode of You Can Overcome Anything podcast show. Have a good day.
Hi, I'm Cesar Espino, real estate investor, business coach, and consultant, and author of the book, You Can Overcome Anything, Even When the World Says No. My number is 424-501-6046. In my book, I talk about making the necessary changes to shift your mind for prosperity and certainty. Pick up your copy at Amazon. I also love helping families with their real estate and can purchase your house fast and all cash. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. My number is 424-501-6046.
Thank you for having me today. I am so glad you've tuned into this podcast. You can find me at your favorite podcast platform where you can like, subscribe, comment, and share. And to learn more about myself, my services, you can find me at www.cesarrespino.com, or you can also find me at your social media. Thanks for joining me, and I am looking forward to having you at the next episode. And know you truly can overcome anything.